Yeah. Yes, we're at the barrage, and we're in Matthew 24.
We're in Matthew.
The house is in the Arctic. Yeah.
We are in Matthew 24, starting in verse 32. So, verse 32. Matthew 24, 32. And this is the parable of the fig tree. I'm not going to go and review a bunch of the stuff from previous weeks. But starting in verse 32. Now learn the parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. How many of you can wish for that?
I wished for that about 2 hours ago.
Okay, so you too, when you see all these things, recognize that he is near, right at the door. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So there's a parable there with the fig tree. Mm-hmm. What does the fig tree represent?
Food.
Food. We got one vote for food.
Israel.
What?
Israel.
We got to vote for Israel. Sounds like you're saying it as a question, like you're not too sure.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Okay.
Israel.
Well, I think it refers very often. Israel is the fig tree. I think that's pretty common,
Okay.
isn't it?
Now here's the thing. I have heard that interpretation before, and it's wrong.
Okay.
I'll just be blunt. The fig tree represents a fig tree. And it's just an example from the agriculture to teach a lesson. The old idea that the fig tree was Israel was that when you see the fig tree blossom or Israel blossom, that was 1948.
Right. Yeah.
And then this generation that sees it will not pass away until all these things happen.
Right.
So let's see, how many years ago was that?
Lindsay Lake Great Planet Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard that back in the 80s. It was popular back then,
Yeah.
that interpretation, because it seemed to fit. But I think as humans, we tend to have a bias toward our own present time and thinking that we're living in the most significant time ever. Not always the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Israel's been around since 48. How many years is that?
Well, that's 52 and 26.
That's where I was going.
Which adds up to
Almost coming up to 80, right?
which adds up to more than a generation, really.
88.
Yeah.
And you can even go back further to the Balfour Declaration,
Yeah.
where they
Generations,
started
20
in the
years.
20s, right around World War One.
Yeah,
Was that
but
about four? That was
They were-
20s?
but the idea is that interpretation is something that we should just toss out and just see that Jesus is talking about a fig tree and, as Rod said, food. So and it says, and so you too, like the fig tree, when you see all these things, recognize that he is near, right at the door. What are all these things that Jesus is referring to?
The signs of his coming, right? Before.
Everything that we've seen from before in the chapter, and that would include.
Yeah, I can't read it because I can't see.
Yeah, I would say that would also include the abomination of desolation. So when you see the abomination of desolation and all the other things, the signs that are taking place, know that he is near, right at the door. That would be the sign of the Son of Man. And he then says that this generation which sees all these things taking place will not pass away until he comes. And then Jesus gives one statement, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So true. Now, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to stay in Matthew. Although, last time I talked about, should we do a lesson on the rapture? And so I started looking into it, evidence for and against. And what happened is I noticed that, to me, it looks like all the way from verse 36 of Matthew 24 through verse 13 of Matthew 25, it looks like Jesus is talking about the rapture through that entire area. And I'm going to give you a context. And this is, I think, a very important context. Do you know what a Jewish wedding is like?
7 days.
There's a whole bunch of things that take place. And I'm going to read through what takes place. And you start thinking about Jesus and the church, and you're going to see things in your mind falling into place. Ever play Tetris? You know, things falling into place. I used to.
It's been a long time since I did, but yes.
Okay, so a Jewish wedding pattern, or Jesus marries his bride, the church. First, you have the betrothal period, where you have an agreement, an arrangement, and the bride price. Fathers arranged marriages, with the groom's family paying a bride price to the bride's family, essentially buying her. Jesus echoed this when he said his life would be given as a ransom, and that we were bought with a price. Symbolic gifts. The groom gave the bride gifts, including the gift of property or services. Are there gifts that we receive as a part of being privileged to be in the bride of Christ?
Yes.
What comes to mind?
The gifts of the Spirit.
Yeah, the gifts of the Spirit. That could be.
Eternal life.
Yeah, that's a gift too. But we have received gifts, even for in this life, spiritual gifts. And then there's a binding agreement is made. The betrothal was a binding agreement, almost like marriage, but without consummation. The groom would offer a cup of wine to the bride, saying, "This cup I offer to you," which she accepted by drinking, sealing their betrothal. Can you think of a glass of wine that Jesus offered? I think we can. This is the Last Supper. So that's a betrothal. Then the preparation period. The groom builds a house. The groom returned to his father's house to build an addition, the bridal chamber for the couple, a process that could take time, maybe even 2,000 years or more. Jesus used the exact language of this custom when he said, "I go to prepare a place for you." Where did he say that?
John
John
14.
14,
John 14. And when he's done, he's going to receive us to himself.
And I will come back to get you.
Yeah, to receive you to myself. And then the bride prepares. The bride stayed at her home, preparing wedding clothes and learning homemaking, awaiting the groom's return. So guys, we're going to have to learn homemaking.
Yay.
But it's true because, he's the bridegroom and we're the bride.
Yeah.
So God, heaven is he and we are the she.
Yeah. So next, the secret arrival. And this, I think it gets interesting here. The secret arrival. The groom would go or would come to claim his bride unexpectedly, often announced by a shout and blowing of a trumpet. As he alone knew the time, the groom could not return on his own schedule. Only the father decided when the house was ready, which is why no one knew the day or hour of the groom's return. This explains why Jesus said, even he did not know the timing. Only the Father did. And I noticed this was often something that took place at night. If you look at the parable of the virgins in Matthew 25, 5 and 6, it says, "Now while the bridegroom was delaying, they all got drowsy and began to sleep. But at midnight there was a shout, 'Behold, the bridegroom, come out and meet him.'" The bridegroom arrived at midnight. So,
So you gotta be thinking about that somewhere around the world right now, it's noontime.
yeah. So is it
Coming all at
possible?
once,
Mhm.
so everybody in the world sees them. So
Mhm.
what does that darkness represent?
Say that again. Everyone sees him?
Yeah, so when he
No.
comes, the whole world sees
Okay,
him, right?
that
So the
would
world
be
of
the
darkness comes up.
that would be the second coming, not the rapture. The rapture, I think, is just noticed by the believers.
So even if they notice it, they're noticing it in the darkness. What is the darkness?
Nighttime.
Oh, because around the world, some places they're noon and some are midnight. So some place in the world,
Mhm.
So
It
the
would be
darkness
light
would
out.
not be nighttime.
Is it possible that Jesus coming to claim his church is not something that is instantaneous but takes place over the course of a night as it goes around the world? And is there a way that God is going to
Maybe the
conceal it?
darkness is the darkness of this world.
I don't think I'm getting your point, Rod.
I'm just saying, darkness can refer to natural light
Mm-hmm.
and natural darkness. And darkness can refer to the spiritual condition of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Will we consider the spiritual condition of the world light right now?
No.
Probably not.
I think it is best to go, instead of spiritualizing the darkness, just
Sorry.
including. Yeah, I think
Oh, my spine.
Alex, now.
Dog, gotta pay for the shoes.
you gotta put some oil on those shoes.
No.
Um,
It was this shoe.
But I think that
Calm down.
It's-
It's okay.
It's like a squealing.
It sounded like a dog when you stepped in its tail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Poor
So-
cat, but we
We
didn't
said
pick
the
on
cat,
cat.
but no.
It would take some research to figure it out.
Yeah, I would just lean toward nighttime right now, and just since that is the symbolism that you get from the Jewish wedding that often took place at night. Next, so the groom comes, secret arrival. Then there's a procession, a grand procession. Think of yourself as being in this, with music and lights, would escort the veiled bride from her home to the groom's house. Up, and away. Could be it. Could be good. And there's a consummation. The couple would enter the bridal chamber for the first time, consummating the marriage. And then another thing that is, I think, very significant, a 7-day feast. A week-long celebration followed, symbolizing completion and divine blessing, featuring food, music, and blessings. After the feast, the groom would return with the bride publicly. So where does this 7-day or 1-week feast fit in?
Is that the tribulation? No, was that the marriage supper of the Lamb?
That would be, we're talking about the marriage supper of the Lamb taking place in heaven. But what's the time frame on earth? And you said tribulation. And
Yeah, the tribulation, the 7 days of tribulation, so that's what
7 years.
that the tribulation will occur after the rapture.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So the regular earthly Jewish wedding feast was 7 days, or 1 week. If you think back to the prophecy of the 77s in Daniel, it says that 70 weeks have been declared for your people. The word for week in Hebrew is the same as the word for 7. It could be weeks in 7 days, or it could be 7 years. So a Jewish wedding feast is 7 days. It looks like the marriage supper of the Lamb is 7 years. And it would be during the tribulation time. It's like these pieces fall together very nicely.
Mm-hmm.
While the earth is going through tribulation,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like we are enjoying the marriage supper of the Lamb in heaven.
With our new bodies.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just wonder, will our new bodies be the same as our old bodies were right when we died? I hope not.
No.
Nope, I've already placed my order.
They won't decay.
Mhm.
There's no decay.
All right. So that is the context that I want you to be thinking about as we go through the rest of Matthew 24 and into the first 12 verses of Matthew 25. And my hope is to get through that much tonight. And we're at 15 minutes now. So, starting off in verse 36. Well, first of all, where in the New Testament do we know that the church is the bride of Christ? Do you know the passages? do, 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 do.
I don't know where in Revelation, but I think there's one in Revelation, right?
Bingo.
Probably around Revelation 20 or 21.
19. You were close. And there's two others. Husbands, love your wives just as
Christ loves the church.
Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
First Peter?
Is that in
Ephesians
Corinthians?
5.
Oh, Ephesians.
Oh, not Peter.
And
There's,
Yeah.
and also 2 Corinthians 11:2. I'll just quickly read it. We don't have to go into detail on the church as the bride of Christ, but I just want to get this in your mind. 2 Corinthians 11:2. For I am jealous for you with a godly jealousy, for I betrothed you to one husband, so that to Christ I might present you as a pure virgin. So that's where Paul is saying that he has betrothed the church to Christ, which also talks about the fact that we're in the betrothal period, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the church as the bride of Christ. Now, starting in Matthew 24:36. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father alone. And I think he's more talking about the rapture, but he may be including the whole sweep of that 7-year period. No one knows when that period begins. And he may be just including the whole of it all at once. And no one knows because, hey, he's got to build us a good addition on the Father's house, right?
That
So-
should be a warning to all these people who know, oh, it's coming, right? You can look back through the past years, absolute preachers, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is a warning for you. Nobody knows. And,
Yeah.
and there's nothing that changes that.
I'm going to make this cat an internet sensation.
Yeah. Well, when he was here on earth, he did,
Yeah.
right? Divinely, I believe he does.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the book. I think it was 87 Reasons Why Jesus Will Return in 87.
I remember that too.
Yeah. That,
2087.
That's not
No.
fair. Hunter, come over here.
I'm going to make her an
Let my
internet
Kit Kat
sensation.
go.
Let my people go.
So that book didn't age well, did it?
Yeah.
No, neither did, Harold, not,
Harold Camping you're thinking
Harold
of, but you're also
Camping I'm
thinking of,
Yeah.
Hal Lindsey as well.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
just died this year, I thought, or last year.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Hal Lindsey, he's
Yeah.
died.
Yeah, so we have been betrothed to Christ, and we are in the preparation period, waiting for his return at the time that the Father has determined, when all that construction work up in heaven is done. And I was wondering, is the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven, the Father's house that is being constructed? Because I think that, according to Revelation, it might be that that's where we will be living. It's a thought that's worth,
You mean that it's.
That huge
it's
thing
like
that-
It's a cube, right?
yeah.
or a pyramid.
Or, oh,
Whatever it is, it's big, and it would take a bit of work, at least humanly speaking.
Let's see, we drove to southern Florida last winter, 1,100 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and the city is 1,500 miles on a side.
Yeah, big.
yeah?
So if it's 1,500 miles on a side, that's big.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And it goes high.
And high, too.
1,500
so
1,500 miles high? How high is the space station?
About 100 and, I don't know, less than 200.
Miles high. And that city is gonna be 1,500 miles high.
all right. I don't want to get too caught up in that, but that's
Hey, that's,
I mean,
Never
It's a
thought
thought.
of it that way.
It's a thought. Let's continue with verses 37 to 39. I wonder how long this cat's going to enjoy this.
She's,
She
She's
looks
looking over
fun.
at me going, he won't let me go.
yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah. Well, you're the cat whisperer, right, Anne?
Come here.
For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be. So, are there any clues in this passage I just read that give a hint as to the timing, specifically pre versus post tribulation? What was going on before Noah entered the ark?
He was building.
Eating and drinking.
Life, I would call it life as usual.
Eating and drinking, making merry.
So at the coming of the Son of Man, as he's talking about here, normal life will be taking place. Does that sound like the tribulation?
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah,
I know
not yet.
I've read some commentators, even John MacArthur. I don't agree with him on this, but he was thinking that people in the time of the tribulation will be so brainwashed by the Antichrist that they'll just be going through life as normal. But I don't think. I think the reference is that this is prior to the rapture. People are just living normal life, and then Noah going into the ark is the equivalent of the church being raptured. He is being taken. So
Before the wrath.
yeah, and then Noah and his family go in the ark, and then the wrath comes.
And the door is closed.
Yeah.
That
So they did not understand until the flood came, which is a picture of the tribulation, and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be. So, continuing on, two brief illustrations, but I think these are very important. Verses 40 and 41. Then there will be two men in the field. One will be taken, and one will be left. Two women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken, and one will be left. Do any of you have a MacArthur Study Bible?
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
I think
we
that's
have
what I
one.
got.
It's
Do you
upstairs.
what does your note say for this passage?
Which verse?
It's got a note for 37,
And one for 40 and 41.
40,
Okay.
41.
Like the days of Noah? You want me to start with that one?
No, it's the next one.
The next one. One will be taken.
Yeah.
Taken in judgment, just as in Noah's day they were taken. This is clearly not a reference to the catching away of believers described in 1 Thessalonians 4:16 and 17.
So you notice the word taken in verses 40 and 41. One will be taken.
Oh, they're going to take them
Yeah.
somewhere.
But MacArthur is connecting it in verse 39 where it says the flood came and took them all away. So he's saying same verb.
Oh, so he's saying that it's not gonna be, the one taken is not gonna go up in the rapture, he's saying they're gonna be taken in judgment.
Yes. The problem with that,
And I don't think, I don't
Different
agree
Greek
with
words.
him either.
they're different Greek words.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So the problem with equating the took in verse 39 with the taken in verses 40 and 41 is that they are different Greek words for the word take. In verse 39, the word is iro. And in verses 40 and 41, the verb is paralambano. In the word paralambano, do you hear the word para or para, which we use in English for like para-church organizations, para-military groups, that a parachurch organization serves alongside the church. So paralambano means to take to oneself or to receive one. And let's go to John 14, 2 through 3. This is a very important passage. It uses the same verb, paralambano. So it helps to inform us as to what the meaning is. 14. I'll read from 1 through 3, and I will make note of whose phone is making
It's
noise.
potential spam.
Hey,
Thank you.
sounds like an important call, Rod. I often get calls from potential spam.
Yeah.
Answer it and just give me
I
some,
graduated high school with
you
it.
know, some, screwy numbers.
All right. So John 14, verses 1 through 3. Do not let your heart be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you. For I go to prepare a place for you. Yeah. Our groom going to prepare a place for us. If I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive, paralambano, receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. So there, the word receive is the same as the word for taken in verses 40 and 41 of Matthew 24. To paralambano is to take to oneself, to associate with oneself. It's not a judgment term. There
Okay.
a couple other places where the verb paralambano is used. Matthew 1:20. Joseph, do not be afraid to take paralambano, to take Mary as your wife. So you take Mary as your wife to be with you, to associate her closely with you. Or Matthew 2:13, then 2:20. Take, or paralambano, the child and his mother to Egypt. So take them with you to Egypt. In 2:20, take paralambano, them back to Israel. Same verb. Don't stop stepping on the poor dog, invisible dog over there.
You hid the dog away somewhere among you, right?
Sorry about that.
Squeaky floor.
I don't.
We're going through this heavy
Don't hurt
topic.
yourself. I don't want you to fall as you walk. Don't fall, if you get stuck. Be careful.
I wonder if the people whoever watches this on video is going to hear the squeaking. And if any of you ever want,
And we all stop, and you stop
You'll have to
talking, and we all
edit
kind of.
We're all looking around.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I interrupted
Great, the
the
squeaky clerk.
conversation.
Well, you interrupted it with a chance for humor, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
It was funny.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
So, the word for taken in verses 40 and 41 look like they are taken to be with somebody. And if you look at the end of verse 39, it says, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. And so we're talking about the coming of the Son of Man. Those who are taken appear to be taken to be with the Son of Man, and not in the sense of judgment. And then the next phrase, and one will be left.
So what does that mean?
Pardon?
They're not all going.
Right. Many will be left.
Would that be a sign that that the end times is coming?
Well, yeah, we're talking about the rapture here. That's the best interpretation. By the way, I mentioned this to Jeff, I think it was on either this past Sunday or previously, and he said, yeah, that's the best explanation in his mind for the passage.
Mm-hmm.
So either I'm not a heretic or both Jeff and I are heretics.
Well, I think what
The
it gets
jury's
is,
out.
this event that's being described is selective. I think that's the big deal.
Pardon?
It's very selective.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a selection that comes along. We understand. You gotta be a Christian.
Right.
You have a relationship
Right.
with Christ. And there will be those who associate together,
Mm-hmm.
Christian and non-Christian. And the non-Christian gets to stay, Christian gets to go.
Yeah. Those who stay get to stay for the really big show, the
A
tribulation.
really big show.
The word for left, and says and one will be left. I did a little word study on that. It can definitely include the idea of abandonment. So the word is atheimi, or atheimi, something like that. Matthew 23:38, just at the start of the whole Olivet Discourse, your house is being left to you desolate. Same word. Abandoned. Or Matthew 26:56, at Jesus' arrest, all the disciples left him and fled. Abandonment. So, we can translate verses 40 and 41, I think, quite properly. One will be received and one will be abandoned. And it catches the nuance of the words, I think, pretty well.
Which is contrary to what MacArthur said.
Right. Well,
Well, he's not perfect, we'll give him that.
that's right. You know, he's corrected up in heaven now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I asked that is because that was the beginning of the rapture, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I think, and I don't know why I'm bringing this back, but when we read, where was it? About the fig tree, as soon as the twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near.
Uh-huh.
I'm using that this happening to the people, the rapture is coming.
Mm-hmm.
The fig tree, when the leaves started to come out,
Mm-hmm.
that was a sign that summer or spring was coming.
You know,
I
summer.
think
Yeah.
that's what, I was using that as an example, yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah, I
just-
don't want you to trip on it.
So to your
It's under
foot.
Yeah.
I was just using that as an example. I'm
Okay.
wondering why they said that, and it kind of sounds like the tender, the leaves, spring is coming.
Mm-hmm.
The people disappearing, the rapture is coming. That's all I'm thinking of.
Or the people
It makes
disappearing,
sense.
the rapture is here.
Mm-hmm.
When the people disappear, the rapture is here.
Yeah, well, when the leaves are coming,
Yeah.
spring is here.
Okay.
I don't know, it probably doesn't sound right, but.
One of the interesting things, you go back to Noah. Noah entered the ark with his family presumably, and all the animals. God closed the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sat there for 7 days.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a time lag there.
7 days, not
Mhm.
8, not 6, 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
7 days, the number of God. Mm-hmm.
Think about what that might mean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, before everybody
As in the days of Noah,
disappeared.
when the flood came, after he was gone for 7 days. I don't know what that means. I'm not trying to tell you what it means. It's just an interesting point.
Could it
Potential parallel.
Here,
Yes, yes.
It
The one thing-
probably means something,
here's
but it wasn't important for us to know the details.
But here's the one thing that hits my mind, and it might not be right, but the first half of the tribulation is a period of peace without significant judgment. And maybe that is the equivalent of the time that Noah and his family are shut up in the ark before the rain comes.
Mm.
Although the time frame of 3.5 years doesn't correlate well with the 7 days. If it was 7 years and 7 days, or 3.5 years and 3.5 days, that would be a better correlation. But that's the one thought that comes to my mind.
My thought comes to mind that Noah entered the ark, and everybody around is laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And God closes the door, and it's apparently a massive door.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the world's outside laughing and partying and carrying on. Just visualize that until the rain comes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
It has something to do with it.
maybe when he was closed up in the ark, that people of the time were thinking, now we're free of that do-gooder who keeps telling us
Yes.
all of the things that we can't do. And that might be like the removal of the church from the earth, which allows the Antichrist and the time of apostasy to come according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. It could be.
It just seems weird. He
Mhm.
closed the door,
And you see
and they just sit there for 7 days.
Mhm.
You know? Think of yourself being locked in your house for 7 days. You kind of get antsy. You're expecting something to happen.
You got all these animals around you
And they're hungry.
and smelly.
You got a lot to do though, you gotta
Mhm.
feed those animals
Yeah, yeah.
and
Put in
slop
the
the,
bathroom.
and slop the deck.
Mhm.
Doesn't his example then of the ark, that's a protection? The Christians are protected,
Yeah.
you know, they're protected and the others, they're not, and they're,
Yeah, the ark is kind of like a type of Christ because he is our ark.
he's protecting them.
Yeah, we are his body. We are protected in him. So, but let's try and continue on, okay? So this interpretation that one will be received and one will be abandoned, I think works well with the parable of the 10 virgins who are the bridegroom comes, and some who are those virgins who are prudent and ready, they went in with him to the wedding feast, and then the others were locked out. And we're gonna talk about that in a few minutes. We should be able to get there. So for the rest of this study, we're going to try and cover from verse 42 of Matthew 24 through Matthew 25:12. Jesus gives 3 parables about being ready. I think these will go fairly quickly. He describes people who are ready as alert, ready, faithful, sensible, and prudent. Verses 42 to 44. Therefore be on the alert, for you do not know which day your Lord is coming. But be sure of this, that if the head of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have been on the alert and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. For this reason you must also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour when you do not think he will. So this is where we get the idea that Jesus is coming like a thief in the night to steal us away. And notice, this is happening at night time. And just like in the Jewish wedding, the secret arrival was often in the nighttime.
Sorry.
Good job, Jim.
I think he was apologizing.
I didn't
for his
hear a
Bible.
dog bark though.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that, Jim.
Yep. Yeah. What did we not see?
What?
Did something happen? So, and then continuing on through in verses 45 to 51. Who then is the faithful and sensible slave whom his master put in charge of his household to give them their food at the proper time? Blessed is that slave whom his master finds doing so when he comes. Truly I say to you that he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But if that evil slave says in his heart, my master is not coming for a long time, maybe even 2,000 years or more, I might be adding words, and begins to beat his fellow slaves and eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him and at an hour when he does not know. And he will cut him in pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. What do we learn from this?
We better behave.
So Anne, how are you doing on this?
Hanging in there.
But it's
Yes.
the transforming work of the God in us that makes us
Yeah.
behave.
Absolutely.
I think people want to deceive themselves and think, I can have my fun, do whatever I want, I can be saved later on. but you
Yeah.
have to be ready all the time.
Yeah.
You have to do what's right all the time.
Yeah, there are certainly people who will say, yeah, I'll wait till I'm on my deathbed. And then
You
I'll,
don't know when
you know,
you're on your deathbed.
But what
Yeah.
happens if you die in your sleep?
Yeah.
Exactly.
then you're on your deathbed.
Right, yeah.
You lose.
Or in a car crash.
Yeah.
Could be something very sudden.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
how do you know that the faith that you are committing to have on your deathbed is real faith? Probably isn't.
More of a panic prayer.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Somewhat.
In other words, no, when somebody says, when I'm on my deathbed, then I'll come to Jesus. But
You know, what is keeping you from
Yeah.
from turning to Jesus now?
yeah, that's
Is
a
it
good
because you
point.
don't think that you're a sinner who needs
Mm.
your sins forgiven?
Mm.
How do you know that you're really going to believe it at that moment?
In a real sense, they've created a false Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not the Jesus that proclaimed he wanted people to come to him.
Yeah.
Now. And they're creating a Jesus that they can just pop in at the last minute and say, punch my ticket. I'm
Yeah.
ready. And he's going like, I don't know.
I think you got a good point there, Rod. Their idea of Jesus is not right. The true Jesus desires us to humbly come to him for a real relationship and real forgiveness. And it takes a real recognition of our sinful state and helplessness to truly come to him. And who's going to have that on their deathbed if they're refusing up until that point in time? Probably very few people.
They won't have time. I mean,
Yeah.
if they die instantly,
Yeah, it's
when
the
do
word.
they have time?
Yeah.
When you don't
Yeah.
know.
It's a risky position to me. I mean, take a look at the thieves on the cross that were crucified with Christ. And one, railed at him, railed at him, railed him to the end. And one of them sitting there initially railed at him,
Mm-hmm.
but then said, I see something different here.
Yeah.
And hey, you, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
Yeah.
So there had to be a change of heart and change of mind. God
Absolutely.
moved him to bring faith, but here he is. What other work did he do? What other involvement did he have? He just threw his trust on this man that was dying next to him.
Mhm.
So there is that possibility a dying person can say, yeah, I see now, I want Jesus. But the reality is, there's so many. I mean, I watched this debate between a Christian, I'll name him, and an atheist, and it was really obvious. The atheist had built a universe around himself and excluded God.
Mm-hmm.
His definition of his universe was, science has all the answers, I don't need a God, you're weak because you need a God. And he had put this shell around himself. Now God was outside of that.
Yeah.
He didn't know it.
Now, just because science explains things doesn't mean that there isn't a designer. It's like,
Yeah,
take the internal combustion engine. Does the fact that we know how it works scientifically eliminate the one who created it initially, Henry Ford?
yeah.
You have a designer who designs it in a way that we can understand. Very often, we understand it, but still had to be designed in the beginning.
Yeah, those arguments were kind of used, but he would not let that argument come in.
Yeah. So getting back to the point of receiving on your deathbed, if you're thinking that you can receive Christ on your deathbed, that means that up until that point in time, you've been resisting the Spirit's work in you to bring you to repentance and faith. How do you know that you're going to actually humble yourself to receive the Spirit's guidance then?
Only God knows.
Yeah,
He knows
because
your heart.
it is a work of the Spirit. If you're
I would
If you're
call it
resisting the
outright
Holy-
rejection.
Yeah.
You realize it is rejection.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing Jesus is to them is an insurance policy against fear.
it's what they call Pascal's wager.
Pascal, is he the philosopher?
From
Scientists.
a scientist from a ways back, but his wager was that faith in Christ is logical because if there is no God, he has lost nothing when he dies. And if there is a God,
Yeah.
he has gained everything.
By the way,
Yeah.
Pascal was considered a Christian.
Hmm. Yeah, so, but he was using that as an argument for other people. And,
I
but,
remember my mother heard that argument before she became a believer, and she railed against it. She said, how could anybody say that to me? How dare they say that to me? Until then she finally became a Christian.
Mhm.
But that argument probably doesn't do very well
yeah, probably not,
to
but,
bring people.
Pascal liked it.
Mhm.
So let's continue on. We're going to go into the parable of the 10 virgins, starting in Matthew chapter 25. Hey, we got through an entire chapter.
Yeah.
See?
Hey.
Another proof of miracles.
We should have a celebration. How about food afterwards?
Oh, that
That's
sounds
neat,
great.
yeah.
That's a novel idea.
All right. All right, there you go.
7-day feast, yeah.
All right, Matthew 25:1. Then the kingdom of heaven will be comparable to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Note, the kingdom of heaven will be comparable to. Jesus is using an earthly illustration to reveal profound heavenly truth. And I think that heavenly truth is the church is the bride of Christ. Although at this point in Matthew, there was no church, but certainly Christ was anticipating it because he knew what was going to happen.
So if we look at the next verse, what does it say?
Some of them were foolish. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were prudent. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them. But the prudent took oil in flasks, along with their lamps. Now when the bridegroom was delaying, they all got drowsy and began to sleep. Jim, were you yawning?
That's why you dropped the Bible.
Maybe.
I was trying to snore, but I couldn't do it.
So the bridegroom delays.
And what?
Is our bridegroom delaying?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No,
The days,
he knows.
God knows when he's coming.
Exactly.
From our perspective. From our perspective, Bob.
It looks like he's delaying, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's delaying. It's taken a while.
He wants the full number of people who are gonna come.
He wants to wait until the full number of Gentiles has come in.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's out of Romans 11. Verse 6. But at midnight, there's a shout. Behold, the bridegroom, come out to meet him. Again, there's that nighttime arrival. As was the Jewish custom. 7 through 10. Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. The foolish said to the prudent, give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the prudent answered, no, there will not be enough for us and you too. Go instead to the dealers and buy some for yourselves. And while they were going away to make the purchase, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut.
Like the ark.
So the 5 wise virgins were taken into the wedding feast. So they represent the church, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that feast, as we have seen, is likely a 7-year feast during the tribulation period.
Oh man, I look like an elephant.
It's good food.
It's good food?
It's good
Okay.
food.
It doesn't pack the pounds on.
It's chocolate.
You know, we don't have to think about it, but he's implying that the 5 virgins and the 5 virgins were of the same group, right?
Mm-hmm.
It appears.
So would that mean that half the people in the church, general, don't make it?
I don't think that is the implication. I think it's humanity as a whole is my guess that that's what he's trying to indicate. But yes, it is very true that there are probably about half the people in the church, if you take all churches worldwide, that aren't going to make it. That wouldn't surprise me.
Because, I mean, they say to him, Lord, Lord, open to us, and he says the same thing. He says to them, I do not know you.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing when he, separates the sheep from the goats, and they say, well,
When you did all this in my name.
when did we see you naked and clothe you? When did we feed you? When did we not feed you in their particular case?
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say these are people who think they're good, but they're not. They're not real believers. They're just,
That's probably why we don't associate with the church in Ann Arbor called the Unitarian Universalists.
yeah.
They believe in anything and everything,
Uh-huh.
so they don't believe anything particular.
Uh-huh.
Universal Church, is that what you said?
Unitarian Universalist Church, it's on the, it's
Ann
on
Arbor
the
Saline
Saline,
Road, halfway
Ann
to
Arbor
Saline.
Road.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a physical, real church.
I go down that road every day.
I don't know
You
if
got,
it's
you got all types around here in the Ann Arbor area.
Yeah, we do.
Christian
Okay.
Scientists.
Yeah, so
So-called.
yeah, as Carl said, later the other virgins came saying, Lord, Lord, open up to us. He answered, truly I say to you, I do not know you. Be on your alert then, for you do not know the day nor the hour. So again, I don't think I would try to say that this is talking about just people in the church. First of all, when Jesus spoke this parable, there was no church. It was just the nation of Israel, although I think the application would be to all of humanity. Some make it and some don't. I think it's, if we read more into it, I don't think that that's necessarily the best choice to do.
We can't exclude the identity of some who say
Yeah.
they've been in church.
Yes, there are definitely going to be many in.
And you know, it's evident here, you know, they say to him, hey, open up to us, let us in, we know we need to be in.
Mhm.
So they have some knowledge of who he is.
Well, certainly in the parable, yes. And how many details we can extrapolate from the parable to reality, that is an issue of interpretation.
It's got to be generalized.
Mhm. So anyway, I do think that this whole section from verse 36 of chapter 24 through what we just finished appears to be pointing to the rapture, and it fits very well with the Jewish wedding custom and the fact that the groom comes secretly, usually at night, with a trumpet blast to receive his bride and take her away to the Father's house, where there is a week-long feast.
Yeah.
And it all seems to fit together very well.
Yes, it does, yeah.
And
For
here's
the
here,
pre-trib rapture.
yeah, here's another thought, something I read. It might be, and this, I would have to do more research on this, that the church specifically is the bride of Christ, and Israel is the bride of the Father. That is another thought that might be worth pursuing eventually. I've read something about it that some think that is a possibility.
There's another place where Christ is talking to his disciples, and he talks about to them, but he's saying, I have other sheep, and they're going to be in one fold.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a verse in Revelation that talks about there's only one fold, there's only one body of Christ. So
I've
you could
always
look
thought
at-
of the other sheep as being the Gentiles.
Mhm.
In other words,
I-
the non-Jewish.
Yeah,
I actually think when you get down to the real nitty-gritty, Abraham, Moses, patriarchs that believed, and Christians, there's only one body of Christ.
Body of Christ, yes, but
There's no evidence that there's a separate body of God.
it does talk about how Israel is betrothed to the Father in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
It would require more research
Do a
too.
little more research, but I think there's some evidence that Christ refers to bringing the other sheep into his fold.
Mhm. Yeah, my interpretation is in line with what Jim said, that is talking about the Gentiles. I think that's in John
Well, I
somewhere.
think so, yes, but I still think there's only one.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's not a bride of, there's not.
I'm
a
not-
group
I'm
that
not
says,
saying that-
We're of Christ and we're of the Father.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Jewish Messianic believers would be part of the bride of the Father. I'm saying that they would also be part of the bride of Christ. But that Old Testament saints who came before Christ,
We're looking
Mike.
for what?
and also Jewish saints after the rapture, might be the bride of the Father. It's just a thought. Anyway,
I've heard that before.
okay,
I don't buy into it.
all right. So I might be wrong about that, but I was just throwing it out there as
You know
something.
what The reality is, we'll find out.
That's right.
He's
So
gonna
I-
straighten us all out.
Huh?
He's gonna
Yeah.
straighten us all out.
He'll get us all straightened out.
Mhm.
There's gonna be an awful lot of, really?
Are you
Okay.
kidding me?
Oh.
Yeah.